A voice said in my head during a moment of clarity, "You caught up with people in the cycle of immobility. It's over. They've embraced being mediocre. Stop fucking with mortals. Take your place by the gods like Jehovah. It's time to hit reset. No more putting pearls in the necks of swine. And never trip on losing dope. It's new money easy to find. Opportunity comes to those who relentless hustle and grind. And we don't want to waste a moment because the one thing we can't recoup is time. See, we master our own destination. The airway prevents elevation. And the perceived ally could just be your biggest hater. So what? Practice syllabus and give zero fucks. Sever ties with them all and watch them fall once the cord is cut.
Let's run that back. Good morning.
A voice said in my head during a moment of clarity, "You caught up with people in the cycle of immobility. It's over. They've embraced being mediocre. Stop fucking with mortals. Take your place by the gods like Jehovah. It's time to hit reset. No more putting pearls in the necks of swine. And never trip on losing dope. It's new money easy to find. Opportunity comes to those who relentless hustle and grind. And we don't want to waste a moment because the one thing we can't recoup is time. See, we master our own destination. The airway prevents elevation. And the perceived ally could just be your biggest hater. So what? Practice syllabus and give zero fucks. Sever ties with them all and watch them fall once the cord is cut.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. That was by somebody named G. Perico, and it says featuring Big Steel, but the song was only like a minute and 3 seconds long. So it may be a longer version. I'm not sure, but it's called Hit Reset. I'm gonna put the song in the chat. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Riaz. How are you? Well, I hope. Hey, Soft Rain. Thank you for coming. How are you? Well, I hope. I hope the music wasn't too loud in y'all ear. Hopefully it wasn't. Good morning. Good morning. We're gonna get started in a second. For that, I don't even know if I would consider it a song. I take it more as a message. I take that more as a message. Very powerful one, and it was only 1 minute and 4 seconds. Go figure. Let me see. Copy so I can put it in here since we played his song. I was talking to myself. That is so annoying. What the hell? What was it doing the whole time? I'm sitting here thinking I was sitting here talking to y'all. That's annoying. Good morning, Uncle L. Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Riaz. Were y'all able to hear the 1 minute and 4 second song that I had played? Hey, Mr. Vine, good morning. Good morning. I can't believe it kicked me out. And it's saying that I don't even have anybody in here. This thing really is annoying. Hold on. It's been silent since I came in. That's crazy. Hold on, let me see. How many minutes was that? Okay, like two. That ain't nothing but the devil wanting us to be stagnant. That ain't nothing but the devil wanting us to remain stagnant. You didn't hear the song? I'm gonna play it again. It's only 1 minute, 4 seconds. It's so powerful. First time I heard it this morning. And I had put it in the chat. Let me see. Hold on. That's crazy. I don't like that. That's the devil trying to keep us stagnant. But we're not going to allow it. Hold on. I'm gonna play it again. If you need to turn your volume down, go ahead and do that. Apologies. You think it's powerful. Already, if I played it twice in the beginning, I don't mind playing it again. So powerful. And I don't know why it's showing that I don't. I was silent for 5 minutes. That is whack, son. Thank you. That's the devil.
A voice said in my head during a moment of clarity, you caught up with people in the cycle of immobility. It's over. They've embraced being mediocre. Stop fucking with mortals. Take your place by the gods like Jehovah. It's time to hit reset. No more putting pearls in the necks of swine. And never trip on losing dope. It's new money easy to find. Opportunity comes to those with relentless hustle and grind. And we don't want to waste a moment because the one thing we can't recoup is time. See, we master our own destination. The airway prevents elevation. And the perceived ally could just be your biggest hater. So what? Practice celibacy, give zero fucks. Sever ties with them all and watch them fall once the cord is cut.
What's the song? Mr. Vine. It's only 1 minute and 4 seconds, but I like it. And it's called Hit Reset by G Perico. I never heard of him before. Have y'all heard of him before? G Perico. Can't believe StreamYard did me like that, but whatever. StreamYard's been acting up lately. So yeah, who came? Riaz, Soft Rain, Uncle L, Roy Lee, Mr. Vine, Cool Beans. So yeah, that was the song. And let's just get started. Let's get started. Hold on. I thought I had that window open. What's going on? Up in here, up in here. Sheesh, Louise. Sheesh, Louise. It says hitting the reset button on life involves intentionally pausing, evaluating, and restructuring your habits, environment, or mindset to overcome burnout, dissatisfaction, or major life changes. Okay? And this is something that you have to do intentionally. It's not going to just happen. Okay? You got to do the work. A lot of people don't like to do the work. but they want to enjoy the fruits of the labor. But the only way you can do that is if you do the work. Some things there's just no, what do they call it? Some things you just can't take shortcuts. And a lot of times we get accustomed to taking shortcuts, the quote unquote easy way out. And that's not very productive. Sorry, I'm looking for something. I'll just use this one. It says it requires acknowledging current stagnation, releasing what no longer serves you, such as clutter or negative habits. What else? And actively designing a new aligned path forward through intentional, often small changes. And when they say small changes, it seems small, right? But in the bigger scheme of things, it's rather large. For example, something as simple as um, switching up the type of content that you choose to ingest on a daily. You know what I mean? Even if you rock with particular people and you're cool with them, but they just happen to, be doing content that just doesn't serve you, you may need to switch it up a bit. It doesn't mean that you can, that you have to just say bump them all together if they get peoples and you rock with them. But you definitely may need to switch it up a bit. And if they rock with you and if they are your people, they will understand that. Especially if you're not judging them, you know what I mean? Or making them feel like they're less than for the type of content they choose to put out. They just may no longer be your cup of tea, if that makes sense. And that's just one example. So let's see. Let me see if anybody said anything first, because they're always going tangents. I wasn't really expecting anybody to even come in, which is why I didn't even share it to my wall. Not that I mean, he almost sounds like Kevin Gates, obviously a, a lot more intellect. And it's funny that you said that because there was a Kevin Gates song that I was going to play, but I'm just like, Kevin Gates is just so burnt out. I know there's something there, but he's just so burnt out. I said, nah, let's just do this. And that was my first time hearing this person, so I have to check the music out. And I was looking to see if maybe that was just a snippet and if there was a longer version, but apparently not. Since when is the wave to put out songs that are a minute and 4 seconds? But it was very powerful, and it definitely landed. Miss Divine said, nice song. Uncle L said, oh, you back. Listen, because this was just something I said, this is weighing on me a bit. Weighing on me a bit. And then I was just sitting here thinking to myself, like, it's not the platform, it's what you choose to do with it, you know? It's what you choose to do with it. And it's also what you choose to ingest. It's like a mixture between what you choose to ingest, meaning take in, as well as what you choose to regurgitate, meaning to put out. Now that I mean, Uncle Al, what's up? Let me see. Hey Carlos, what's up, Chef? Chef says good day, world. Uncle L. Burnt out isn't a bad thing. Artistic work matters. Nah, for real though. Because that's why I said I know there's something there. I can see it with him. You know what I mean? I know there's something there. I know it's something there. He just may have some shit with him. But then again, don't we all? Don't we all? He does say that. And art is subjective, whether that is music, whether that is paintings, whether that is how one likes to their style of clothing, the way they like to dress. Any form of art is subjective and won't be appreciated the same in the eyes and the ears of everyone. You know, same way people have different ideas and perspectives on what it means to appreciate something or someone, and then to not only appreciate that something or someone, to show that you appreciate that or them. You know, it just is what it is. It is what it is, honey. All right, you said already went over what everybody said. Let's keep it moving. Why not? Why not? So it says key strategies for a life reset. To hit that hard reset button. He gave us a few. I like when they give us a few. First one, it says acknowledge and reflect. Acknowledge and reflect. Have to be able to acknowledge what we need to acknowledge. Otherwise, you can't. How are you going to do something about it if you don't know what it is you need to fix or adjust? And that comes with reflecting. But I will say, don't reflect too much. Don't reflect too much. Sometimes it can be a lot. It really just depends on the type of person you are, to keep it a bean. But it says use a journal. I strongly encourage journaling. I journal all the time. I have multiple. I have some that I leave at work. One I just filled it up this past week. So that one is full. And when I get ready to, I'm gonna take a look-see-loo. Because what I started that one February 13th. I started that one February 13th. And for that one, I only write in that one when I'm at work. So I leave it at my job. Um, and I work quite a bit often, so there's that, right? So yeah, I started that journal February 14th, and it's not a really big one. It's a nice size one. And then I just finished it. I want to say it might have been on Saturday, either Friday or Saturday. I finished it, and luckily for me, I already had his backup on deck. And then obviously I have one for the home when I'm at home and I want to journal. I don't really like doing it in my phone because And I talked about this before. I really believe in saying on paper, on purpose. I feel like when we write things down on paper, whether it's with pen, a pencil, a marker, a crayon, whatever it is, that's your business, right? But I do think when we write down things on paper, it's more likely that we're going to make it happen, put it into fruition, if that makes sense. So it says use a journal to honestly evaluate your current situation and identify areas that need change. So that's the first key strategy for a life reset. Acknowledge and reflect. It says declutter your environment, perform a top to bottom cleaning of your physical space to create a fresh start. Okay. Redefine values. Redefine values. This one is important. They're all important, but this one is important as well. Might put a little extra highlighter under that if I were you. So it says redefine values. Identify your core values and realign your daily actions to match them rather than just reorganizing your schedule. Okay? Identify your core values and realign your daily actions to match them rather than just reorganizing your schedule. Okay? So we'll just go back to the YouTube example that I presented, right? So if you're a person who wants to be a little more positive, wants to take in more positive content, less negative content, less bull crap, you know what I mean? Where we at? Then that would include you not going to watch certain content on a daily. If you're somebody that be on here on a daily and you normally dwell in areas or channels where there's always bull crap occurring, regardless if it's entertaining or not, you know? And if you're at a point where you feel like, yeah, this is not it for me, this it's not giving, it wouldn't make sense for you to continually return back to those spaces. And it doesn't mean that you have an issue with anybody. It's just that's not your cup of tea, you know? And there's so many different pockets or quote unquote sectors to where if you feel like you would still like to be on here, it's not impossible to switch it up. You just have to realize what your core values are and then stick with them. And that's just when it comes to um here, on here. When it comes to life outside of here, you have to really sit down and think about Sorry, y'all. Damn. When I ain't got nothing going on, people don't want to call, ain't got nothing for me. When I'm trying to do something, sheesh. Hold on. Sheesh, Louise. Okay, sorry, y'all. I had a call. I don't like when that happens. And it rarely ever happens when I'm trying to sit here. Anywho, anywho, hold on. Let me see what you said. Miss Divine says, I definitely journal. I haven't been doing much lately. You got to get back into it, girl. It's very therapeutic too. It's very therapeutic because then you're just getting your stuff out, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Whether it's something happy, something sad, whatever. But especially when you find yourself being in your feelings about something, because like I say, everything is not for everybody. You know what I mean? Everything is not for everybody. Everybody don't give a damn. Okay? Everything is not for everybody, and everybody does not give a damn. So with that being said, some things are just best put into our journal. You know what I mean? That way you're still able to get it out. But like I said, everything is not for everybody. And then also, not latte, divine. Also, when it comes time to sit and reflect and reflect, taking a look back into that journal is going to be very important too, because the way you felt when you wrote them things down, when you write them things down, by the time you get to a point to where you're ready to take a look back at it, you may not even be in that same space, if that makes sense. You may not even be in that same space, and you're definitely going to be able to get some clarity on some things because you're going to be taking a step back and looking at what you wrote when you were in the thick of things. You know what I mean? And it will help you identify what maybe you should have, could have done, or allowed to be done to help your judgment moving forward, if that makes sense. Okay, Ria says blessings. Hey, Ria's blessings. You're so funny. Knowing damn well when you two, this is why you my nigga if you don't get no bigger. Knowing damn well when YouTube goes through a drought, your small onion ring head shaped ass gonna be right back over there. Stop it. I like that you said that. I like that you said that. Let's keep that in mind. And hey, Dragon, how are you? I like that you said that. And let's keep that in mind. Because really where I'm at with it right now, at least for a particular sector that I be dwelling in, I'm really good. I'm not really pressed, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of wash, rinse, repeat, you know what I mean? It's a lot of negativity, entertaining nonetheless, but it's a lot of negativity. Some of it is low-key triggering. And me, I have opinions. I have thoughts, honey. I have opinions and thoughts. that will eventually land me getting myself in quote unquote trouble because I don't have a problem sharing them because I'm grown. But I don't really need or want any bull crap. So because I don't want or need any bull crap, it really does just serve me best to really not be bothered. You know what I mean? It's only about one content creator from that sector whose channel I'll be going to, you know? And even when I'm over there, I've got to chill. I really have to chill and just let head ass in peace for real. Because I be valid nonetheless. So I don't just say things just to say things. What I say is definitely valid, but folks gonna do what they do, and that's their prerogative. Okay, let's see. Now I journal, but I haven't went back and reread what I have written. It's interesting. And like I said, Divine, my work journal, I started that February 13th, and I just finished it this past week. And I know when I go back and reread that thing, Lord, Lord, Lordy, Lordy, keep it in the forefront. Good, Davy. All is well for the time being. I hope it is for you and everyone here. Thank you, Dragon. Hey, Dragon, that's subjective. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about? But nah, for real though, guys. And what sucks too is you really just can't give everybody benefit of the doubt. You cannot give everybody the benefit of the doubt. You can't expect people to do for you what you would do for them or how you would do for them. And that's a harsh what do we say? That's a hard truth. That is a hard truth. People are selfish and very inconsiderate of your feelings, and you have to know these things and appreciate the people that you do have in your life who don't operate in that way. Okay? And then use excuses as to why they are handling you the way they are handling you. There's no excuses for anyone to mishandle you. We all have a plight. Okay? We all have a plight. We all have situations. So just because someone has a particular plight in their life, it doesn't mean that it's okay or acceptable for them to handle you in any old type of way or in a way in which you don't want to be handled. You know, because what I've learned or come to learn is sometimes it can be the very person or the very people who we show or give all the regards to, right? But when it's time for them to act in kind or reciprocate that, There's excuses, you know? There's excuses, or they're not consistent, or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, nah, nah, I don't like that. I don't like it at all, especially if I'm showing you all the regards, you know? I'm showing you all the regards, and you can't show me enough. Um, you think I'm some type of bare minimum person that's going to be content with receiving the bare minimum while I'm shelling out the max? That's crazy work. No. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're dealing with people or a person who is handling you in that way, and you don't want to be handled in that way, then guess what? You got to hit that hard reset. You got to hit that hard reset button and keep it moving and appreciate those that you do have in your life. If you are blessed, that don't handle you in that way. While still understanding that everybody does have a life, everybody has a plight, everybody has things going on. But they respect and appreciate you enough to know that you deserve to be, you deserve to be a priority. You know what I mean? You deserve to be a priority. You deserve to be thought of. Don't let nobody just let you fall by the wayside and then they pick you back up when it's convenient for them. No. You said get out my head, B. And for real, I'm going to start referring to it as back burner energy or back burner vibes. You guys know when we use the stove, what are the things that we place on the back burner? Can anybody tell me that? What are the things that we place on the back burner while cooking? On one of the two back burners, because there's four burners in the stove, unless you got some type of high-tech stove. What type of dishes do we normally place on one of the back burners when we are cooking? Hmm. Pots, pans, kitchen towels on accident, sides, things that don't require much tending to or attention, right? Because the things that require us to keep a close eye on them while cooking, that's going to require being stirred often, flipped, whatever the case may be, you know. And when you cook, you know what I mean. There's certain things when you're cooking that just really you can't walk away from, you know. It requires our full attention. So the ones that don't require are the meat is a priority, so it's up front, exactly. But like things that don't require much attention, enough attention to, keep it afloat or from burning or whatever, or overcooking, but not nothing that you really need to keep a close eye on. Those are the things you put on the back burner when cooking. And in life, those are the people you put on the back burner. They're not really a priority for you, you know? And it just is what it is. I did a live where we discussed knowing what categories to place people in. So that way you can know what to expect from them and what should be expected from you in regards to them. Okay. So I'm not really beat for people placing me on the back burner when I done place them on one of my front burners. That's counterproductive and it doesn't make any sense. And I suggest you all do the same. Highly suggest you all do the same. So if you ever hear me refer to back burner vibes or back burner energy, that's what I mean. Ah, that is exactly what I mean when I say that. And I really have a problem with nonchalant people. If I tell you how I feel about something and you shrug it off, bet, freaking bet, bet your bottom dollar. You're going to have to stand on it too. Going to have to stand on it. So let's continue. It says start small. Focus on changing habits through tiny, manageable actions rather than expecting instant, massive overhauls. Focus on changing habits through tiny, manageable actions rather than instant, massive overhauls. So let's see. So, okay, so like for instance, and I guess I'll keep circling back to this YouTube crap, right? So for instance, say if there's a particular content creator and they go live quite often, weekly, you know what I mean? You may not quote unquote feel quote unquote ready to just completely stop going there, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's not that you have a personal issue with them, it's just the content is not given what you needed to give, right? So if you find yourself still dwelling over there, but just not as much, that's still a start. You know what I mean? It's still a start, especially if you were accustomed, to supporting them every time they went live, depending on what you have going on. You may start to get to a point where it's like, okay, they're live, that's cool, but I'm gonna find something else to watch if you don't have nothing going on. You know what I mean? It's really not impossible. And there's nothing wrong with starting small. Same with people that you know is no good for you. You may not be at the point where you're ready to just cut them off completely, but that goes back to redefining your values. You will get to a point where before you pick up your phone to call them or message them or whatever the case may be, you really will give it a second thought and just going back to starting small. It doesn't mean that if they contact you that you have to be rude, ignorant, or ignore them or anything like that. It just means you don't have to be the one to contact them, especially if you're always the one contacting them. And especially if it really just don't do you no good anyway. You'll get to a point where you can just do without. And there's nothing wrong with that. It says recharge, prioritize physical health and rest, such as getting more sleep or incorporating physical activity to regulate emotions. That's important. That one is very important because we're not robots. Let me see. I'm going on a tangent. Let me see. Dragon, you funny. B, I will be more active. I don't ever want you to feel that way about me. Your conversations so refreshing and informational. I appreciate that, Divine. And I have to check your page out more often as well, to be honest. It goes both ways, honey. It goes both ways. And that's all I say. I don't like really I try not to expect nothing from anybody because it's such an easy way to be left disappointed. But what I will say is I don't expect or require anything from anyone that I'm not willing or that I don't have the ability to give. You know what I mean? I really don't. So, like I said, to give people all the regards, and then for those same people to not give me any regard or not enough regard, it's an issue. And that's for any, that should be an issue for anybody. For real, for real. But with you, Divine, I need to start coming to your page more often as well. So I'm definitely not speaking about you. And I appreciate you saying that our conversations are refreshing and informational. And I appreciate you engaging. I really appreciate engagement. I said this before, because if I wanted to just talk to myself, I would do that. Duh. Dragon, you're funny. You're funny. All right, let's see. Change scenery. If possible, change your physical surroundings, such as rearranging furniture or moving to a new apartment. And I don't know about the moving thing because that's not as easy for everybody to do. But as far as switching up the feng shui of the joints, I definitely subscribe to that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Switch it up. Switch it up. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. And lastly, they gave us some signs. It's time to reset. Burnout. Persistent feelings of being overwhelmed, exhausted, or stressed. Stagnation. Days blurring together without a sense of purpose. The third one, negative habits, not prioritizing your physical or mental health. Okay. And then lastly, we're going, and like I said, we're going over signs. It's time to reset. Lastly is disconnection, losing interest in things you once loved. Okay. Those are some of the signs that they gave to us that it's time to hit the hard reset. Okay. And I like this little sentence. It says, a reset is not about running away from problems, but managing what you can and letting go of what you cannot, often through intentional structural changes. Okay. All right. That's what they had for us. That's what I have for you. Hopefully, you guys were able to get something out of that. I know I was. And I have a video that I found on moving. I said, ooh, talk to me. Hey, you know? And for some people, it really may just be time to move if you're able to, you know? A complete fresh start. And if you're not able to, switch up the feng shui of your joint. Switch it up completely. Why not? Why not? I really hope you guys were able to get something out of this. I appreciate all you guys coming. I appreciate those who are dwelling in my clouds. Hopefully, it wasn't any monitoring spirits because I don't need that in my life. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't welcome it. If you rock with me, you shouldn't have no issue rocking with me openly. Is what I feel. I don't really need people rocking with me who want to do it from afar. Okay? But nonetheless, I hope everybody was able to get something out of this. I hope you guys are having a great morning, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon and evening. Thank you. Bye.